Howdy, good evening, hello. Welcome along. Hang on, let me just adjust my little camera. Need to zoom in. Up. There we go. Bit of that. Otherwise, the illusion's spoiled. There we go. Oh, look at there's Gollum falling to his death. Welcome along, welcome along. You are here because you must have realised it. A little stream. Yes, and what are we streaming about? Well, say what we'll do. We shall reveal. And if we press the right button, there we go. How you doing, Valinda's Travel? How to improve LOTRO community suggestions and ideas. Over the past few months, well, probably about 6 months actually, we've been asking people within my stream, within Discord, on Twitter, etc., about what they would like to see within Lord of the Rings Online. Everybody knows it's the game that I play the most, and everybody here as well plays it quite significantly too. So I asked people to send in information about what they would like to see improved. What could they suggest as something that's not happening within the game currently? Lots of things to kind of cover over the next X amount of minutes. I don't know how long this is going to last. Like I said, I've tried to break it down into a variety of sections so that we can deal with things, you know, mentally, rather than it being all higgledy-piggledy and all over the spot. If you do have any more suggestions, do keep them under your hat. We may go through something like one of the relevant sections that you might have. If not, we'll keep it to the end, and then we can have a look at those as well. So get ready with your tippy-tapping 300 words per minute word processing power that you have for typing. We will try and discuss things as best as we can. You will see all these screenshots that are going on behind. They are all ones that I've taken. Missy, thank you very much for the follow. Much appreciated. We are 7 away now for 3,500. Seven away, I believe. 7 away. Well, thank you very much, Missy. Much appreciated. So we shall crack on. Have the suggestions ready if you don't see the one that you might have thought of, etc. So find the correct button. We do need to press that one. Right. First up, and this one's probably one that I've hacked on about a little bit of late, with actually creating a new character. Obviously, you've been seeing that I've been playing the Brawler. Also, I've created another few characters as well across my various free-to-play accounts, just so I could claim some of the free content that's come out with the whole update 33, which was obviously the anniversary tied in with it. So, new player experience. Now, for me, I think it's, the first title, Streamline and Update, I think it's still in the same place for a lot of the classes, a lot of the races, in the same state it was way back in the early days when we first started playing, way back in 2007. And one thing that did crop up is that some of the races, such as the High Elf and the Bjorning, seem to have an improved and maybe better experience when it comes to going through the whole intro, etc. Now, it was something that when I did my Valad, a High Elf Lawmaster recently, they literally did the High Elf intro. If you've not seen it, it's very good. Obviously, it's available for free-to-play players now as well. You kind of go back in time to the second age, the whole of defeating Sauron the first time around, that kind of thing, in that timeline. But then, obviously, once you finish the intro, you come out and you're at level 5. And I was a little bit confused, and I know me and Keepy did discuss this about why it happens, but to a new player, it doesn't really get explained. You know, you could quite easily come out of that intro at level 5, you launch into Erid Luin, and you're like, okay, I'm level 5. What happened to levels 2, 3, 4, 5, etc.? Blind as it is, it's a nice storyline. It's a very good introduction. But then you would play something like a Hobbit, whatever, a Hobbit Burglar, for example. We'll go for the classic. And then you'd end up in the Shire at level 2. And even to an experienced player like myself, who's, you know, made several characters over the years, you're like, well, why does one class and one race come out at level 5 and one at level 2? And it's very confusing. So I think people, the developers, if they could spend some time on updating so that everybody is either able to skip the intro, is either able to understand why they come out at a different level, like at level 5. I mean, I was still confused, and I only did it about maybe 10 days ago or something like that when I created the character. And it's something that I find, if I was a new player, I'd find quite frustrating, because it'd be like, well, that hasn't been explained to me. Sort of tying in with things that need explaining a bit better. A lot of people, and I'm going to use Magic as the example, because she'd never played a PC game before. She'd never played anything. And I thought, Lord of the Rings, it's not action-based, it's not too hectic or anything like that. But to somebody who's never been near a PC, somebody who's maybe used a controller on a console before, coming along to a PC game that's using WASD, using your mouse, using your right mouse to control your camera, or right-clicking on certain things to activate, I really think in the introduction, it is so paramount that players are basically handheld for quite a bit of the way to say, right, you are going to attack this target. Press 1 or left-click on icon number 1. Things like that are just not intuitive to some people. I know a lot of people that play games on PC, you know, it's like, it's second nature. This is how you click, this is how you click. But we've had instances of people like, oh, I'm not used to an MMO. I've played this game before, you know, I've played FPS, or I've been playing like kind of Borderlands-y kind of game, Destiny, but I thought I'd try this because I like the look of Lord of the Rings, and obviously there's a bit of hype. So you're getting in so many new people, and I really think that at the moment, the new player experience just isn't there. Other people who kind of agreed, like I said, this was probably more my point, this one for the new player, because I have done that experience. There's going to be a lot of players that are maybe here that have just created a new character. There's maybe a few people further down the line that watch this back on YouTube, and they'll be like, yeah, I really struggled. And over this coming next 6 months or so, we're going to see an influx of players. We've seen it already with the anniversary. We've seen the free-to-play, etc., giving us new blood into the game, which is a good thing. It's not a bad thing by any stretch. But I think I said it yesterday or the day before that you have to grab that first instant of players wanting to play it and keep hold of them. You have to return them. They have to want to come back. They have to want to be able to think, oh, I enjoyed that, I can't wait to get home. So yeah, Vlinders, I'm struggling after 10 years. Sometimes it's just not intuitive. And yeah, maybe the systems in 2007 were there to be able to create a better introduction. Maybe now there is. You know, maybe there's time and money that can be spent towards it. And I really, really think it can benefit not only the player playing, but also the retention of the player from the company's point of view. So pretty much overall, a new player experience, streamline it, make it more intuitive, make it a better introduction to using skills, controlling a character, even just moving a character in the game. I know there's a little intro, like, it does pop up, press WASD to move around, but then it doesn't. I actually, in the first room, because Magic created an Elven Hunter, so right at the start of the Elven story, you're in a room, if I remember rightly, with Elrond. And I said, we are not even going to go out of this room. We are literally just going to have you running around, holding down WASD in any way, shape or form, running around the room, but using your mouse with the right mouse button to control your character. So you're turning around, then using like the left mouse button to, you know, change your camera. And that was essential because she'd never really picked up a mouse and keyboard for gaming. If you used it at school or wherever for word processing and stuff like that, that was all it was. And it was like, move your mouse, click, and then type, hit enter, then move your mouse, and oh yeah, I need to print that. And that's as far as a lot of people go. You got to have that same mentality for people that are coming from consoles, because we live in a more console generation than PC gamers. There's more console players out there than there is PC gamers. stick a keyboard and mouse in their hand and they're like, whoa, what's that? I don't, they can't get it. It takes a long time of learning. Now, I've been playing with a keyboard since, I don't know, I was maybe 7 or 8 years old when we got the Commodore 64. The keyboard layout hasn't really changed much. Then I used the Amiga. So I've been using one for over 35, 40 years in some shape or form. For me, a keyboard is fairly natural. I actually struggle with the controller because it's not my thing. Obi-Wan, thank you very much. W-LAN, I think it is. Thank you very much for that. Much appreciated the follow. So you've got to, I really think as a whole thing for Standing Stone Games, Daybreak and Global 7, really let's have a look back at the new player experience. Let's beef it up. Let's improve it for them because it's going to benefit the game in the long term. I mean, all these things that I'm hoping that we can discuss will improve the game, but I think grabbing people and really keeping hold of them and having a good retention because they've enjoyed the experience right at the start, and that is paramount. Any shop that you go into, any training that you ever taught with being in the retail industry or within any kind of industry that you need to keep customers coming back to you, they will say you've got like a 2-minute window to really make that impression on somebody to keep them wanting to come back, and they have to have that same experience every time they come back. If their initial experiences, they're going to like, nah, I didn't like that, I'm going to walk away, try something different. So maybe World of Warcraft has a better introduction. Maybe Guild Wars 2 has a better introduction to the game. It's been a long time since I did either of those, so I couldn't really say. But I do think that, to me, as an experienced player, even going back and creating a new character, I don't think the experience is as good as it could be. It's not bad. I mean, I'm not saying that it's the most awful thing in the world, but there is just so many things that are not explained. And I honestly think it could be something that could improve, and it would essentially make a lot of difference. I forgot to add previously, but better introduced crafting system, and it was very confusing. Where do I get that? How do I make this? Yeah, absolutely. It's it is all the way through. Like I said, maybe not just the player experience, but yes, certainly crafting and finding the resources, etc., could be a bit better explained. And I think a lot of the time we are just floating around trying to make our way. One of the good things, though, is that the game is at times focused towards maybe getting people together. If you can join a server that's fairly well populated, one of the things I would suggest is have a look for active kinships. If you see a lot of the same name, it might be a big kinship, but it might not be the best kinship, but it could be a very active kinship. And if you can get in with that kin, then obviously you can ask a lot of questions. That's why I said to people at any time in my stream, if you want to ask a question because you're new to the game, just ask away. I don't mind, because experienced players will impart their knowledge, or they should, to everybody to help them, because at the end of the day, that's what we do as experienced players. We're not there just to troll them. Let's impart our knowledge to them. Vlinda's, yes, I'm back to keyboard, mouse and control. I played on a Commodore 64. That was my first game computer. Yep, same for me, way back. You kind of might be giving away your age a little bit there, Vlinda's. Still bad with the keyboard. I don't really keep trying to use the keyboard. It feels weird. Yeah, and it's going to be... You have to force yourself. If you're only used to, if you struggle to use more than 3 or 4 keys, I mean, you've only got 5 fingers on your hand. But sometimes you have to kind of, roll your fingers onto other keys and stuff like that. But that is just experience and, knowing stuff like that. True, I played from beta and came back to play in 2010, still lowest level with crafting. So, yeah. Now, anyway, new player experience, obviously that ties in a little bit with what we just mentioned with to do with crafting. That could obviously be better introduced. Now, this was something that, again, I think I discussed, and Keepy, I think, had chimed in with this. How you doing, Uni? And Strayhawk, sorry, I saw you there, Strayhawk. A heritage gear type system. Now, this is kind of going to the other end of the spectrum when it comes to the player experience. Because I think when you get to level 140, or whatever your top end is, if it's level cap 120 or whatever, 130, you know, wherever you've got to, something in the back of your mind always says, I'm not too sure I want to go through that whole leveling again. Because it's 140 levels. Yes, ignore Valars and skipping and, you know, people basically power leveling you or anything like that. Oh, wow, Mandalorian, you still have your original. Well done, my friend. Well done. That's amazing. But the problem is that the other end is you get to the level cap and then you think, I'm going to create a new character because I like playing through on my champion, but now I want to try the Warden. Now, you might think, yeah, I enjoyed the story. Yes, we're going to go wee all the way through, leveling through the various areas wherever we go. But then you hit certain other issues. Now, those issues are what are listed here. Yeah. You got reputation that you have to do again with the various factions. Stable master discoveries. Now, everything is shared per account. Now, this is what I'm going to mention about the stables is that you have an account-wide sharing of a lot of resources, okay? In your wallet, you can share things. So you can share tokens, you can share marks, things like that. There's so many things in your wallet that are shared, that are account shared. Okay, so that's basically to say all your characters know each other. Because they're giving access to various things. Even use shared storage. So, is this one particularly stable masters? Yeah. Why, once you've discovered a stable master on one of your characters, as long as they're at an appropriate level, okay, why is that information then not passed on to your other characters? So, say for example, I'm level 30, I'm in Evendim, okay. I get in, and I've been all around the Shire. I've been around Bray, unlocked all the various stable masters. Then I create another character who just starts in the Shire. Well, why don't I give them a little leg up and say, to the northwest along this winding road, and I'll draw you a little map. You're going to find a stable master in, I don't know, Needlehole. Yeah. You would pass that information on. You would tell them. It's the same as sharing. Here's some marks that I earned when I was doing a skirmish. Now you can use them to level up. That to me, I think, would help. Yeah, absolutely. And that would be an option, certainly. But I still think it should be an option both ways rather than no, not at all. You know, I think maybe, for example, if you're on a role-play server, then it wouldn't be an option, if you know what I mean. You wouldn't share that information. But I still think that something like these stable master discoveries should be enabled across your account because you would share so much information. Now, I'm not saying that you have to, you know, make all your characters family of family, you know, like people do. The other thing that we find very grindy is the next 2 points, which is class trait points and virtues. Now, virtues, not so much, but I do find class trait points is so laborious. Now, I'm doing okay on my burglar, not my burglar, on my brawler, sorry, which I've been playing through. You've seen, you know, I'm doing quite well on that. But I know that I'm going to hit an absolute wall of class trait point earning when I get through Moria, I come out the other side, and I end up in Rohan. Because Rohan, you have to go through nearly every epic storyline, and you have to follow it. If you miss anything, you just don't get... There's no way of earning. Now, I really think that class trait points should be earned in a variety of ways. Not just do this specific quest or do this amount of your deeds, because it's such a snooze fest. And I really think the whole leveling experience without having to rely on the same quests, the same deeds. I know you get different deeds for different classes and different racial ones, but the class trait points on the same thing every time, and it drives you because you just don't want to do Rohan. A lot of people do not like Rohan, and it was such a massive landmass, and you're doing like maybe, what's the level, maybe 70 to maybe, well, even if you go down to Helm's Deep, that's level 95. You're doing like maybe 25 to 30 levels of Rohan, and you're just like, I really don't want to do that, you know. we feel like we can't skip it enough, and it's almost like we're going to make you play this, so even if you don't like it, and sometimes you feel like it's a bit of a punishment. So, oh yeah, excuse the bear, funny Rohan. that was his T-posing bear, a bit of an issue from time to time. But yeah, doing content initially is okay, but after that, and again, this is where it's a heritage system. So that if you've completed the content through and you've got a character to level cap, one character to level cap, you should then have access to this heritage gear system. Now, if you've got a token of discovery, which was the stable master discoveries, for example, then you could use that on another character on your account. However, if you don't want to use it, as Eth said, then you don't use it on that character, for role playing. Same with reputation. I'm not saying complete reputation, because obviously, just because somebody who's an acquaintance of yours, i.e. another character on your account, doesn't automatically get the same reputation level as you do. But I do think it is a little bit laborious with the amount of reputation. If in a way you got a little boost, if somebody had got to say Kindred, for example, I've got to Kindred in the Yonder Shire with the Yonder Watch. Yep. I could then vouch by association for all of my other characters on my account. Yeah, and say they're okay, they're friends with me. It's like getting somebody into a pub saying, "Oh, he's with me, he's all right," and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, we'll let you in." Yeah, So you would pretty much be like, "Yeah, they're okay." Yeah, Minas Tirith rep is insane. It used to be worthwhile, but obviously when you move past that point, it needs a revision, if you know what I mean. So obviously now the level cap's gone way beyond that, and but I do think that it could be given a boost. You could gain some form of acceleration by association, but it depends if you've got somebody on your account, a character on your account that has got maybe various levels. So say for example, if your character, like I'll take my character, I don't know, Spam, okay? He's probably got Minas Tirith rep, full on, Kindred, you name it, whatever he's got, okay? My Brawler comes along, he gets a full boost, so he gets like a 20% boost, yeah, because he's at, the speed that he'll earn that reputation, because he's a friend of somebody who's Kindred, yeah? Now, if my Spam wasn't Kindred, for example, but he was ally, that means that he's not fully Kindred with them, but that also means that my Brawler, when he comes through, would only earn a 15% rate as a boost. Yeah. If you are a friend, so Spam was friend to Minas Tirith, I'd only get a 10% boost. And then if I was an acquaintance, I'd only get a 5% boost. So you would alleviate that reputation grind for all your other characters, depending upon what one of your characters was, there. Now, obviously, it's going to vary because as you go through, you're going to have various characters that have Kindred rep with certain types. Like, I mean, I've got Kindred rep on my Brawler within the Yonder Shire. Yeah. So if all of a sudden I get another character that's got Kindred with another rep, you can see that there's going to be a bit of a problem keeping an eye on what rate each of these characters should be earning at. But obviously, you can only be logged in on one character at a time on your account. Obviously, you can have two characters playing at the same time, but they've got to be on two separate accounts. So I think reputation could be done that way as an improvement. Allow us to earn rep a bit quicker. Again, it's just to alleviate the grind. Now, again, a lot of these things with the heritage system and the grind, which is I think a lot of players who've played for a long time see, there are ways and means within the store to alleviate that. Okay, and that's all to make the money. Now, cynical as it might seem, that is how the game needs to be funded. It's free to play, but there's transactions. It's not pay to win. People who ever say this on Twitter or in world chat or anything like that, oh, the game's pay to win. What do you actually win? There's no end. There's no winning. It's like, yeah, this is when I got photo bombed on top of the Karok. There is no winning involved. You can pay to accelerate your leveling, fine. But I think if you are, somebody who's played a lot of characters, you should get a bit of a little heads up, or a little rather boost up for doing other things. Emotes, pets and horses, those I think maybe could come under, once you unlock those on one character, you unlock them on all, kind of thing. Obviously certain reputation ones, you know, like certain reputation horses and things like that, maybe not. But, you know, if you get, you know, one from a certain quest reward or something like that, just make it available across your account. You know, I think that would be better. Virtues, that's another one that's a bit grindy, but again, virtue acceleration tomes do exist, and there's a reason for that, obviously, to make money for the game. So you can see that there's ways of these, but I think these things overall could be improved as well. But like I say, with the whole heritage, you get the characters to level cap. That's obviously one. Be like level 140. You get bonus stuff for your lower levels just to boost you through that little bit quicker. And I think this was Keepy. I think it was either Keepy or Baz. I can't remember who actually put this. I think it was you, Keeps. Nothing overpowered, but something to say, here you are, you've accomplished X, Y, Z, and can get a head start elsewhere. And I think that's what it would be nice to have. Manda, that might be close on for rep stuff, but it's a good idea. I'd be fine with what you, if they made you get each rep to top level, and then all these characters get like a flat 25% same emotes, something like that. I like that all the characters get the same pets, emotes, and steeds. Yeah, I mean, villages, obviously certain things are hidden behind certain, again, reputation or certain festivals, for example. Now, obviously, you wouldn't be able to unlock the festival ones, but that would be marked as such. But if you got, emotes, I think emotes is the one that, some people go after because they like the different emotes. Just share them around your whole characters on your account. Now, I don't actually know if that would alleviate some of the load on the servers, because everybody on your account has the same thing. Instead of having to have, oh, what's this character database got? Does it need to have that? No, it can use the overall one, rather than having, if I've got like 14, 15 characters on my account, each one I load in, it has to check each of those individually. Manda, I hate having to collect mounts and pets on all characters. That stuff should definitely be account wide. Yeah, I just think that's something that could possibly be there. So, like I say, something I think could help a player that's been playing in a heritage system. You could put behind, and I don't want to segregate the player base. You could put a heritage system behind the subscriber, the VIPs, so that if you are a subscriber and you accomplish XYZ, then you will get a boost. Now, obviously, there's the boost already with being a VIP for the subscriber town services and the jug, etc. Then fair enough, and that does give you a heads up or a leg up rather with the cost, because you don't need repairs, etc. like that. But I still think there could be more, because it would potentially entice people to be a VIP. Kiwi, just to chime in, they have a while back stated changing store mounts to be an account based. Not all of the put through to that, and the methodology is objection to some people, but the work has started. Cool. Spinner bought the steed of shifting hues yesterday for 7.5 figments, and should have to do that on every character. Funnily enough, Mandalorian, I've actually got that one as well for 7,500 figments. I bought that I think about 5 or 6 days ago. But yeah, a legacy system as such. Heritage gear, okay, not level cap still. Yeah, no, I mean, it wouldn't be to go there. It's just to kind of give you a good start in the sense of get you going. And it's usually on these kind of things, to help you through, because these are the grindy things. And I think if you've done it once, and this is again about player retention, because there's nothing worse than playing through and then thinking, I don't want to do that again. Because people's time is definitely, paramount to them, and you're expecting them to grind for hundreds of hours, and it is hundreds of hours to do some of these things. Maybe not the emotes, pets, and horses, but certainly the virtues, class trait points, stable, masters, and reputation. Now, everybody's time is precious, so I'd be very dubious about not helping. And I think this is where the demographic and the change of LOTRO needs to happen as well. You can see how WoW numbers have dropped subscriber, because people don't want to be doing hours and hours because the people who started playing the game back in 2007, their lives are totally different. They'll have had children, they'll have changed jobs, they'll have moved countries, they're getting older, they haven't got the time. And then you need to appeal to that demographic rather than just saying, hey, it's LOTRO, it's how it's always been. Yeah, but people are not in that same place now, you know. So I think something to help along the lines would be good. Yeah, it's debatable in certain aspects, certainly with the stable masters and the RPS aspects. So, hey, again, it's something to think about. Vlinda's, yes, I love Festival and the Grind Steeds and Pets, but not on all my characters, yeah. Like I said, the festivals and stuff like that, I think you should do it on your other characters. Certainly with the Figments, I think when it's that much of a cost, then it should be available on every character. It should be account-wide, that one. Something like that. Right, that's the first page. Yay! It's only taken us about 40 minutes to get through that one. Well, maybe about half an hour. Right, next up, let's see what we've got on here. Crafting on auction. Right, I can't remember who sent this one in. It could have been with Baz, the kin leader from the Gnomes. He did send me quite a few notes. Split crafting professions up so that you can manually select 3 professions that you want instead of the fixed combinations. Now, this could be contentious to some people because they think, well, I don't want to have, you know, the fixed combination anymore. I'd like to choose. I'd like to be able to just go out there and be an all-out collector of every resource. I don't want to make anything, etc. But I haven't really thought how this would affect gameplay too much, because you've got the economy to think about. If people can just go out there and just grab every resource, so they can do the foresting, they can do the farming, they can do the mining, the prospecting. I wonder, I mean, don't get me wrong, the whole auction system, I think at the moment, is currently in the bin. It's not working, although new people coming through is helping. But being able to choose, I mean, this one again is open to suggestions from you boys and girls. Would you like to split the crafting instead of having a jeweler, a cook, and a prospector, and they're the only 3 vocations that you can choose? I think letting you do every craft possession would be a good thing on one character. So no, that is in World of Warcraft, and I don't like that. See, there we go. We have totally opposites. No fixed craft. Okay. See, again, I just don't know how this would affect the market. I'd be a bit worried that it would completely bomb the auction and the market as it is. That'll brew. Elder Scrolls Online lets you do all the crafts. I like it. Again, they all have various merits. Elder Scrolls Online, how does that do in terms of actual crafting? Can you just sell to vendors for materials, or is there an auction system like what we have? It's all about having fun. Let you do all one is more fun. Yeah, again, this is where you got to be careful. What one person's definition of fun isn't somebody else's. So, you know, you can indeed all crafts. Okay. Okay. Now, the other thing that ties in with the whole splitting the crafts, and I was a bit dubious about whether it would work, is I think it was the same person, was have a market system rather than just the auction system. So you can sell food, potions, etc. a lot easier, and then auction that special something. So this would be like a game system controlled market. Now, New World, I think, did this to a degree. If you started flooding the market with certain products, then obviously the price dropped because supply demand. If there's an oversupply, the price has to drop to get rid of it, or you know, however. But then you always wonder if the system is actually working, because if for any reason there's a glitch in the matrix and the price of something goes sky high, people will just craft the bejesus out of that and then sell it to the market. So it'd have to be very, very much controlled. Now, the other option is that you just fix price something rather than an AI system that would react to supply and demand. But then does that kind of take the fun out of it? You know, I mean, food now and portions, scholars and cooks can craft things, but nobody ever does. I don't use the auction system much because I'm self-sufficient in the terms of all my characters can make stuff for me. You know, across all my account, I've got every profession virtually covered to a degree. So I don't need to use the auction house because I just go out and craft it. The other thing is as well, with the crafting, the ability to use universal crit items that can give you 100%, and then you use the ingredients packs as well. I can craft everything for my account because obviously they're bound to account if you use ingredient packs. But as I've said, I've got one of every account. I can crit everything, and then I just give it to my other characters. So let's have a look at that. So travel, logging in and out gets tedious. It does, to be fair, and that's something that we will get about here. We will mention. I don't mind crafting as is. This is from Mandalorian. It promotes making alts or seeking out other players for stuff. In one of your characters can do all the crafting. It takes out player interactivity. Yep. See, this is the flip side of the argument. If you want to be a solo player, then should you be able to go out and get everything? But then it's an MMO, massive multiplayer on it. Should you be reliant on other people? Should you have that interactivity? There's pros and cons to each of these. Obviously, the current system is that you have to rely on other people or other characters. Now, I know what Mandalorian is saying is, that other people have to make stuff. When you get several characters, you don't need to rely on other people. You're just self-sufficient. And so you can see that it can work both ways. Keeping, I know several games do a system being able to buy, say, 100 of something or one from the one stack or anywhere in between. That's what I think of with a market system. Yeah, some people don't want alts, and that's fine. Why hinder their experience? Yeah, but then you're going to have to go out and rely on other people, and that's what creates the auction house. So I can see it. Magic, I rely on me and Kinnies to help with crafting and just provide the wood ingots. We're getting big enough now, and they've streamlined the whole thing to solo. Yeah, I agree to a degree, Shavel, but then I think sometimes we've gone maybe too solo focused, but maybe the whole auction system is a little bit of a problem. Shuguchi, God, that's a name and a half. Thank you very much for the follow. Much appreciated. I can see it being a bit of a problem with an auction system because at the end, an auction can set any price they like. That's the thing, within reason. I have maxed all crafts, but I barely cook anymore because it's time consuming. I don't have that time anymore. Exactly. Now, people will say, well, why play an MMO if you've not got the time? But when you're invested in an MMO and it's one of the games that you want to play, it's very difficult just to leave it behind. But then that's how I look at a heritage system where you are a, experienced player, not just a VIP, you're an experienced player. Let's have a little bit of a boost. So even if you can include in that heritage system a way to increase the cooking speed or requirements, because remember, cooking is just reputation. It's how good you can do something. You master a level, you master a tier. Linda, yes, because I can't sometimes do quests because I'm not leveled all the crafts and can't do the things I need because I don't have the craft. Yeah. And again, it's that whole argument of solo. Should you be able to do everything on your own? Should you be able to do all the content on your own? Should you be able to craft everything on your own? Or should you be reliant on your kinship, your friends, and random strangers to do a pub group or buying and selling in an economy on an auction? It is a contentious thing because obviously various people play in different ways and they can't do everything. But I think splitting the crafting professions could be good so you could select the one. I don't know about a market system as such. I mean, there is a market system, but if I can't find it in an auction house, Yeah, and this is something that I believe was brought in on. I saw it on definitely on New World as well. You could put a request in, so the auction system becomes. This is where the marketplace is. That you put in a request and say required XYZ, and you're going to pay X amount for it. You know, so but then you're reliant. You know, and it can slow you down if it's specific for pieces of armor, etc. How you doing, Clover Race? Good evening, Monkey. If you have a like an armor piece that you want specifically, like a helm or whatever, you could get that crafted. Somebody could craft that, and you would pay 200 silver for it. You know, then you would pay 200 silver to that person plus a fee to the marketplace. Obviously, same as the auction system where they take the auction fee for posting. The marketplace could take a cut of your money as well. So you're paying the creator of the helm, the metalsmith, for example, but then the system is taking a bit of money off you as well. Possible. That's a possibility, you know. But like I say, there's many variances to the whole crafting and auction system. I did try and put them together because it was one of the there was only a couple of points that people raised about this. So whilst it's not, I don't think in too bad a place, I think the economy is a bit pants. With regards to the auctions, but I think we are seeing a little bit of a return to normality. But there are people that are trying to scalp the bejesus out of lower level characters by doing the stacks dubiously looking. You know, like you put in 100 stack for like 50 gold, another 100 stack, and then they'll put one that says 10 stack or something like that. So. Clover Race, so this game is awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying it, my friend. 23. Oh, you're playing the Elven Archer. It's a hunter. So still a bit to go until max level. Remember, and I say this to everyone, it's definitely a marathon, not a sprint, is Lord of the Rings Online. So do enjoy it as much as you can. Manda, I do in like the Star Wars The Old Republic's legacy system. All of your characters are tied to a legacy system where you can spend currency to unlock enhanced traits for various things like rep, crafting, etc. LOTRO could do something like that and tie it to the LOTRO points even, so it's win-win for both sides. Possibly. I played Star Wars The Old Republic back at launch. I did enjoy it. And then I had a hard time balancing playing Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. So I'd already been invested in Lord of the Rings for quite a few years, so I do know a Manhunter. Okay, interesting choice, because you now a lot of people go Elven Hunter. I'm not saying you've done anything wrong here, Clover. However, an elf has a bow damage racial trait, which gives you an extra 5%. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're hitting big numbers at the higher levels, it can make a difference. But then again, there's nothing wrong with it because there's other strengths to the man race. But by all means, that's cool. Incoming healing is nice. Strength of morale isn't bad at the first 60, 80 levels. Exactly. You know, the strength of morale can get you out of bad situations. But a lot of people do the archetypal Elven Hunter. But like I say, there's nothing wrong with it. Right, so moving on from the crafting and the auction. Didn't see that in the L stream. Scrap. Yeah, this is why I say just read through the different races, the different classes, because some marry up quite nicely, some don't. But to be honest with you, you'll probably find, Clover, that you don't even notice later on. You really won't notice. So moving on, next section, account, client, and server systems. Okay. This one is an improvement that I think should have been a long time ago, and I'm very, very surprised that it hasn't been done now, because there's been a few instances that I've read on Reddit. I know you've got to be very dubious what's put on Reddit, the forums, etc. People have lost their accounts simply because they haven't played for years. People have been trying to brute force into their accounts. They've had weak passwords, and then lo and behold, boom, they've lost a lifetime accounts. Some people have lost lifetime accounts. Some people have found that somebody spent a lot of money. Literally, they've bought points, they've changed the passwords, they've changed the emails, so they can't even get into the accounts anymore. Now, I'm not saying it's absolutely perfect by any stretch. However, multi-factor or two-factor authentication. That's what MFA or 2FA stands for on your client and your account. Now, you might think, hang on, that's the same thing. I haven't finished it yet. Yes, please. Now, when you log in, this is the client, okay? You're logging into the launcher. Star Wars The Old Republic does this. I know that for a fact. You have to log in using an account authenticator. So you pretty much have something on your phone or whatever, and it generates a code that's tied to your account. So you have to use this, yeah, or an email account or a mobile phone number. Okay, so this is two-factor. Not only are you obviously passwords, yeah, which you have to know. You have to know your email normally. You have to know your password. You also then have to generate a code. Now, it baffles me that in this day and age of people's getting scammed, and you know, if it's not bank accounts being ripped off, I mean, that's even worse. But I would be absolutely gutted if I lost either one of my lifetime accounts because of the years of effort I put in and the monetary value that's there. So why in 2022, and I'm sorry, I do defend SSG to a point, but why this has not been done in 2022? The game's been out 15 years. Star Wars The Old Republic had it when it launched, and that came out in, what, 2012, was it? Or something like that. It might have been earlier. And that had it. And we still don't have it on client or account. Now, the account side is obviously when you log in via LOTRO.com or the Daybreak Games account. You should have the option to turn it on and off. Now, don't get me wrong. Not everybody wants it. Not everybody has a mobile phone. Not everybody wants to do that. I'll explain that it's difficult for them to implement 2FA, but can't remember exactly why. It is difficult, don't get me wrong. However, I think it should be implemented no matter how difficult. Now, this is my layman's terms looking in. I'm not a developer. I don't know the code or anything like that. But your clients, again, your players are your lifeblood. And if for some reason this starts happening where people are losing their accounts, you are gonna get slated, absolutely slated. It's almost like, yeah, we know it's a problem, but it's difficult and we don't really want to do it. Bollocks to that. I'm sorry, SSG. I'm going to call you out. This should be in. No way, no questions asked. It should be in. Multi-factor or two-factor should be mandatory. It should have been years ago, especially since they are so slow. And the tickets for accounts that have gotten hacked and people getting them back. Yeah, and that's the other thing, is that it's taking too long for people to get a reply, because obviously there has to be an investigation where the IPs maybe coming onto the account, because that has to be logged. And I know it's probably difficult and they didn't have the team, but I as a higher up at Standing Stone Games, I don't know how much clout executive producers etc have, but that to me would be a priority, because they should be making a big fuss about that and saying, look, we've lost, people have lost accounts. Yeah, we've got the money, great, everything, that's fine. However, to that player is then going to turn around and say, I've lost this, I've lost that, I don't, when am I going to get this? I know the tickets are becoming much quicker, and they did say they were taking on new members of staff and they take a while to get up to speed. That hopefully will alleviate the issue. However, when it comes down to losing somebody's account, it's not as simple as resetting somebody's email and password, because they have to investigate how it's happened. That means IP login, if somebody logs in. But if somebody knows where somebody's from, they could log in with a VPN that matches their country. And it's easy to do. And if they manage to log in, they'll say, well, somebody logged in from Brazil. We'll use Brazil. Let's just say Brazil. And you're from Brazil. They're going to say, well, somebody's logged in that country. It wasn't me. Well, somebody's logged in from the same location. And it could be a VPN. And that's it. You're scuppered. Trying to get that back would be difficult, because they would say, well, you had a password that was easily guessed. Well, yes, but you could have a password that's... and we did have this problem. Sorry, I'm going to bring this up. Fairly recently, I had to change my password. because I wanted to have Dungeons and Dragons Online on my same account. And they said, you need to basically add this code to your account. Yeah. So I did that, and this said, right, add this a code. Now log into your, or create a password, blah, blah, blah. I tried to create a password. You can't create a password. What do you mean you can't? Your password's too long. And I was like, what do you mean password's too long? I typed it in. No, because the text box that you used to put your password in was only 16 characters, but mine was longer than 16 characters. And I'm like, I can't actually add this to my account. So I got in touch with them, and they said, there's nothing we can do. Now, if they say to you, there's nothing we can do when you're trying to add another account to your or another game to your existing account, there's nothing we can do. What do you think they're going to do if somebody gets this done? Oh, well, somebody logged into your account because you lost your password, or they guessed your password. There's nothing we can do. So there was a way around it. I had to literally go into my existing account, change my password to something less than 16 characters, to then add the Dungeons and Dragons Online, and it was because of this bloody text box that has been set to 16 characters. Again, sorry, I'm going to call you out on this, SSG. That's fucking stupid. And somebody couldn't change the text box to more than 16 characters. And then it became an issue over something that wasn't. So I then changed it, added the Dungeons and Dragons Online, then changed my password back again to what it was. Don't make your customers jump through hoops. Again, it's your whole experience of a new person. If all of a sudden they were having trouble and they literally used it, and some people are not tech savvy, and this is what you've got to, this isn't a derogatory, you've got to take it down to the dumbest level, because that is where the problems will start, and this is where the problems will happen. And if that isn't on two-factor authentication, and somebody says, well, I had a password that I've used for years, oh, well, you've lost it, they're going to go away and thinking, well, I like the game, but, you know, I'm not going to do that again. They're going to then they're going to say to the friend, well, I didn't have a good account. And you know what it's like? Wildfire on the internet nowadays. You can't live in the 1980s where it used to get in the paper like 2 weeks later or something like that. It can go in minutes that something's awful, that somebody's had bad customer service. And it'd be like, oh, yeah, this is what the customer rep said to me. Like, we can't do anything about that. And that would just, reputation gone in seconds. That is worth more than two-factor authentication. Having that on, rather, is better than losing your reputation within the industry. So, sorry, SSG, you need to pull your finger out on that. I know it's difficult, but I had to spend 2 hours trying to get Dungeons & Dragons Online to work. Almost gave up. Yeah, it needs to make it as easy as possible. I know it's old code, but that's where the money needs to be spent. I have to say that one thing Bloods is right. You have a game launcher where you can download all your games. Yeah, again, yeah, I think you're talking difference in development size. Whereas I think having just two-factor authentication built in would be a hell of a lot better than having everything on the game launcher. But who knows what the future holds in that sense. But yeah, sorry. Sort that one out before somebody really does lose lots, because they lose their account. You lose face in the eyes of the public, because if that gets into the MMO press, which will pick up on it, like if they had a spate of it where people were getting dumb and there was no two-factor authentication, because they'd just pick up it and go, yeah, we didn't have a two-factor authentication. Lava, yeah, it's something that's been around for a long time. Now, again, just to reiterate, two-factor authentication is not the be-all and end-all when it comes to security of your account. If you choose a password that you use for every single other thing in your life, then you're asking for trouble, because if somebody guesses that once and somebody tries to brute force it, then you could lose more than just your Lord of the Rings Online. It could be your, bank accounts. And that's the worst one that could happen. And that does happen. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that just needs sorting out. Right, anyway, we've ranted about that one a little bit. I wasn't going to bash them, and I did say in a lot of the previous streams, I'm not going to bash SSG, but I do think that one needs sorting out, because that would be horrendous to lose for anybody that's spent hundreds of days, hours, /played Check that out on all your accounts, and all your characters, and you'll see how much time you've spent on that character alone. If you do that on every single character and add it up, you'll find how long you've been sat playing that game. And then it gone, oh, all just in your head then, because you can't play it anymore. In game, you type /played, PLAYED. Yeah, you can't do it. You have to put a, if anybody wants to type that, you put a, I'll do it. If you want to type it, ignore the full stop. Oh, even I can't do it because I'm showing that. Yeah. So /. Yeah. Played. PLAYD, but put a /. Yeah, I can't do it because it does all that. Yeah. /. Yeah. Funnily enough, it allows you to do that. 3 weeks, 1 day, 15 hours, 42 minutes and 29 seconds. And that's just on that character. Okay. So you've got to add up all that. Yeah, it's just that character though. But you got to remember, it's a total. It's not just, oh, I've had this character for 15 years. Yeah, but it's every minute. So 3 months. So yeah, have a look at that. Then you do that on every character that you actually have. Add them all together. I think I did mine recently, a couple of years back, and it was some ridiculous amount. I've just realised that the background sound stopped. Out road. Let me just find it again. There we go. Wait forever. There we go. Yeah, it doesn't go on creation time. It goes on, length of time you've actually played it. Right, this is probably the biggie, and I hope somebody in the know SSG can really sort this out. Obviously, the anniversary has kicked this one up big time, which is kind of good, but every day you end up playing and your skills don't fire off. Your horse takes 20 steps forward and then 10 backwards. Is the client and server lag. I'm basing this on Evernight because that's all I actually know in terms of lag. But it is the biggest EU server, and it is suffering very, very badly. I think this afternoon when we did the stream earlier, we had, I think, about 1,300 people online, which is a good amount. It's a very good amount. And then, obviously, it's started with the rubber banding and skills weren't firing off, and you literally can't interact with NPCs. Now I believe that this is down to the very old code, but I don't know. But I know they're always saying that they're looking at improvements on how they can do things. Now, one of the other things that they are doing now, if you are not already running the 64-bit client, it will start nagging you to change to the 64-bit client, because they did say in, I think it was the last producer's letter or whatever it was, or in the update 33 announcement, that you're going to get nagged, because by the end of 2022, so the end of this year, you are going to lose access to the 32-bit client, because there are certain things that they want to introduce into the game that they cannot do under 32-bit coding because of the memory restrictions and everything else. However, you still have a grace period. I have to say I hardly had any trouble with Evernight all the years I played. It's my main server. Yeah, it's not bad. It's just very bad when it's busy, like today, this afternoon. I think just before you came in, Vlinders, it starts okay, and then depending on what area you're in, I mean, I was in Evendim, there was times where I just couldn't actually interact with NPCs or mining nodes, etc. So I really don't know how they can fix it. They know it's the big issue, and they always seem to skirt around it. I know when Scenario's been on, not Scenario, is it Scenario? One of the head cheeses, he's always said that, yeah, we're going to fix it. And I know Cordovan's done the same. Yeah, it's something that we're going to look at. You'll know about it, etc., etc. So one of the things that they did is that they're making tweaks to the servers, etc. Server costs. This is obviously the main, well, not the main thing, but it's one of the costs of the whole system. Is you've got to run the servers, CPU power. I don't think it's a case of just brute forcing it with more CPU cores or anything like that. Whether it's not runs efficiently or what, and again, it could boil down to the server coding being inefficient. I'm not entirely sure. Again, but it's just something that impacts every player. If you're in an instance, it doesn't normally affect you because that is literally its own little private instance. If you're in the middle of Brie, you know how laggy it can be because there's so many people running around. Hence why they had different layers so that there weren't too many people in Brie. But you can be out in the middle of nowhere like I was in the middle of Evendim, and then you can't mine a node because your skills don't fire off, or you're literally frozen to the spot. That isn't latency that's causing that. That is it is to a degree. It's the lack of information being sent backwards and forwards. You're kind of sending the information to the server from your client, but then the server is not sending the information back to say, I know where you are. You're doing this. That's fine. It goes, and that's it. And that's what it's like. It's like, it doesn't do anything. Kiwi, lag was hitting my 3-man group in Barragularan. Is that BG this afternoon? See, BG, there's so many different potentials for that, but I'm saying Barragularan. And one of us trying to kill 3 mobs and not able to fire off a single skill for about a minute. Yeah, I was exactly the same. I couldn't do anything, which was rather annoying. And if you're in a fight with a group of like 4 or 5 things around you and you need to fire off them skills because you know as soon as it catches up, you're going to be dead. But, you know, because there was another time the other day that I was firing off a skill and there was only one skill that would actually work, which is a bit bizarre. But of course, it was on a cooldown, so I had to wait for it to come off before I could hit it. I think it was the backhand, the AoE slap that you have on the brawler. Yeah, it was in various things. Yeah, we were doing it at 65, so we weren't doing it, but nothing would fire at the time. Centurion Swindle, hello. My favorite animal is chickens. Welcome along, Centurion, and I'm glad you like chickens. But it is an issue, and again, because of the anniversary and so many people coming in, so many people starting to level characters, and they're going to think, is this what it's like all the time? And it's going to put them off. So again, another thing that does need sorting out, and hopefully something can be done with this investment that seemingly Enid Global 7 are pushing into Standing Stone Games. But we'll see. I mean, we don't know the ins and outs. Nobody ever knows, and it's pure speculation. But I'm just hoping that can be solved or alleviated at least. This one I think was from several people actually. This next point here, speeding up logging in and out of characters, being able to quickly swap to a different character instead of having to wait multiple minutes when switching back and forth. Yes, it's very tedious. And to go back to the whole crafting thing at the top. Being able to, swap around your characters because you think, oh, I can craft this on this character. Oh, I can get some ingots on this character. Oh, I'll need this leather from this character. Having to swap in and out so slow. And sometimes when you select log out, it doesn't actually log you out. You can be stood perfectly still, hit the log out button, and then you're just still stood there when it finishes. It just doesn't log you out properly. So I think that needs to... And again, I presume it's some kind of database issue where it has to take not a screenshot, but a photo of your account, like a snapshot of your account as is, upload it to the server, make sure it's valid and everything, and then say, yes, you can leave. Because obviously we'll have the instance where if it just cut you out straight away, people will be like, hang on, where's my stuff gone? Because it didn't do that. So I do think there's an issue with regards to snapshots of your account. You also need to make a switching server option for the camera stream without having to completely close the game and restart. Absolutely. I don't know the back end of how that works. Obviously, when you log in, you then have to select your server that you want to connect to. But there could be another option on there that when you exit the server, it puts you back onto the launcher, but still logged in. not exit game. I suppose it's the wording, isn't it? It's not exit game. It's rather that you exit your server and then go back to the login screen. So that could be helpful as well. Again, tied in with probably the client server lag and pretty much like this. The vault lag, very delayed when opening your storage. Centurion, thank you very much. A lot of people do like that. I have a couple of them because I have a spare, as all good wizards do. Yeah, the vault lag, when you're especially opening things up, it can take a while and people can be very quick. You know, you can press I, you can go to, obviously now with the subscriber town services, you can open up your shared storage and your vault anywhere in the world within Middle-earth, and it can be a thing. I can't remember where I took this picture, you know, but I know it's, I think it's near Dol Amroth because it's these heads here, so it must have been around there. But it's looking down into the bay. But yeah, I think this is tied in with this kind of thing. You know, it has to do with like a load at the snapshot to tell you what you've actually got in that vault. It has to have done a snapshot of your shared storage as well. And then that has to load into your system. Then it has to draw all the icons and everything. And that's why it takes so bloody long to do. So I'm hoping that's, again, can be alleviated because if they do, you know, whatever on that. But again, this is things that we can improve LOTRO, and I'm sure that, you know, I'm kind of teaching SSG to suck eggs here because I'm sure that they want to sort that as well. They don't want a laggy game, but I'm hoping that something like that can improve the whole experience. So, right, just bear with me. Still got my tea from an hour ago. It's quite cool, yeah. Yum. Cold tea. Right, so I think that was a biggie when it comes to the whole experience of lag in the game. Again, top one I think is a priority because without clients you don't have a game, and it's something. Account security should be high up there. How you doing, Tom? But yeah, client and server lag as well. Right, next up, gameplay and the environment. Oof. This did get a lot of love, as you can see. Now I'm thinking it was Eth that sent me this one. I can't remember. I do apologize if it wasn't you, Eth, and whoever it actually was. But the top one, collapse the level range and or introduce proper scaling. Now, this one could be quite contentious, and again, because people probably think, yeah, 140 is not bad, but I think the range of levels, like 140, isn't actually enough to cover all the content of Middle-earth. But by the same token, you shouldn't have to cover every pit of Middle-earth to get there. So, and this is something that with the introduction of the Wildwood, the introduction of the Angle of Mythythel, the Yondershire, etc., has given us new directions that we can go rather than, you know, having to do every bit of the same content again and again. Yep, the Tortoise Stone can be useful. However, that would then be, you have to buy that. Nobody's given one. You have to buy it. Although, if you do want to use the Tortoise Stone, which is basically in the store, it's known as a Experience Disabler. It is currently 20% off, so you can get it for 80 LOTRO points rather than the standard 100. Now, it is worthwhile because it is account bound. You can give it to all your different characters. That means you can carry it in your bags, and if you want to stop leveling within an area, you just enable it as a pocket item, and then you will not gain any experience at all. Not from crafting, not from killing monsters, not from quest rewards or anything. Is it character bound? Oh, it is character bound. I do apologize. That's the thing that this should change. But then they're probably thinking, well, it's cheap, so you can buy it across everybody. So, yeah. Sorry about that. I think it's character bound, yeah. If it is, people can probably check because it is available in the store if you are logged into the game at this precise moment in time. The other thing as well, obviously in that first point, collapse the level range and or introduce proper scaling. Now, proper scaling would be good because that means wherever you are in the world, you could fight against things of that level, that are level appropriate. I think the issue with that is that's a hell of a lot of work for the developers to introduce scaling. To be fair, because I think it would be outside the remit of the scope of the team, even in its current form. And obviously it's increasing, but I think proper scaling, so that if I was a level, I don't know, level 80, for example, I should be in and around Rohan. But if I went to the Shire, I could do the quests in the Shire that would be level 80. Yeah. But if you were grouping with somebody, they'd be getting, say, and they were level appropriate for the Shire, for example. If they were level 10 and you were level 80, yeah, you'd get similar rewards. But how do you balance that? Do they get brought up to level 80 in power? Or do you drop down to level 10? It's very, very difficult how to do proper scaling. But that does kind of lead to the next comment, which is scalable instances. More like you'd be scaled down in most cases, I think, or ASO, I think as well. Yeah, it would be easier to scale you down than to scale them up, because all of a sudden they're supremely powerful and they're like, yeah, and kick ass, and then all of a sudden they come back out of that fellowship and they're like, oh, I hit like a wet skipper. However, you should be appropriately hitting something on the right level by them. But scalable instances, that I think is a better option, because there's so many good instances that people don't play because there's no reason to go back into them. You know, if you miss them while you're leveling, the reason being is an instance is easier to control than out in the wild. It's the same with like single player versus multiplayer. Multiplayer is not just several versions of, you know, single player. The reason I'll use this as an example, Rockfish Games with Everspace 2 said it's going to be a solo player game. You're not going to, because the work to create a multiplayer game is multitudes more. It's not just a case of, you know, connect this and connect this. It is a magnitude more of work to actually create. Now, in a scalable instance, you are creating an environment, a small block or whatever, you know, this kind of thing, and you're controlling that to say everybody scales to that instance, to that level. You know, you're going to do that. But when you've got so many different areas and people can just transition, they can swap out a player very quickly, you know, running around the Shire. You could dump 2 players and then get 2 more very, very quickly. With an instance, you have to start the instance and then it becomes a separate run entity. That is easier to control. PvE, you've got to think you've got to do that to cover from Erid Luin all the way to, well, basically Gundabad. That is a lot more work, whereas an instance is a snapshot in a certain area. So going into Uragarth, it's already there. It's a created instance. It's not like a PvP where you can ride from, you know, the Troll Shores to Erid Luin, you know, without instancing at all. Just having an instance of something or a small piece of something is easier to control. That would be why they were doing it. The rewards would also need to be... Actually, yes. I mean, obviously, as it says on there, scalable instances, you give rewards relevant to your actual character level. Because there's no point everybody's going into an instance that's, say, level 75, so... You've got to, you know, certain players get brought up to level 75, some drop down to 75, but then you only get level 75 gear, for example, because the ones that are coming up may use it. The ones way above would never use it because there'd be no point. I mean, what would be the point of them using it? So, yeah, it'd have to be relevant. And again, that is very much difficult work. And that's another reason, why they probably wouldn't do it as a worldwide PvE scaling, because the loot table would have to be massive then, absolutely massive, because of you'd have to cover from level 1 or 2 up to level 140 in every area, and they have to be adjusted and balanced. So that would be why. Whereas an instance, you can say, right, it's going to give you this gear, boom. Again, a lot of work, but I think there's a lot of instances that are left by the wayside and people don't play them anymore. There are some that are obviously scalable and they're good to go into, but I think of all the instances that we have in LOTRO, more scalable instances would be an absolute boon, because you could just go and play it whenever you wanted to, you know, with whoever you wanted to, and it'd all scale appropriately. It would be lovely. So yeah, right. I can't remember who sent me this one, but scale war steed morale and DPS on unmounted stats. So I can't actually remember who sent me this one, to be fair. So when you're obviously on the war steed, you get, you know, buffs and bonuses from whatever you can put into the war steed, as well as obviously your own character. Now I'm presuming they mean that the war steed morale is down to when you're not on the horse. So I wonder if it's just that the war steeds are so high in, or very low in morale in comparison. But then a horse would be. So I can't remember who sent me this one. If it was you and you fancy like explaining this one, because this is one I've put in and I've not really thought too much on it. But yeah, scale war steed morale and DPS on unmounted stats. Because I'm wondering if unmounted, obviously just as your player character, and you could be absolutely humongously powerful in DPS and have, you know, 1 million morale. If you scale the war steed to that exact level, you're just going to beat the bejesus out of everything in and around Rohan, aren't you? So, not sure on that one. War steeds post run get you almost instantly knocked off. I think that's what they mean. War steeds are basically used after rise up for traversal. Yeah, but to be fair, I don't think the environments are designed for war steeds, and this is it. After you get out Rohan, yeah, literally, you want to be using them as a means of getting from A to B, and using sacrifice to stop yourself from getting knocked off. I think that's an absolute must, is having sacrifice, which is a skill that you get in the is it the light build or the medium build? I think it's the medium build. The medium build has sacrifice. The light build has the permanent speed toggle. So yeah, I can see that, but I think, if I'm honest, I think war steeds is just going to be left as they are. I don't think there's going to be any love for war steeds anymore. It's like Rohan. I think they realise they're a bit so to speak, but they don't want to spend any more time on them. I think Rohan has done its thing, and that's it. So there we go. Right, so add an option to skip drama in instances, or remove long conversations in instances, and only use those for quest versions of an instance. I think this is just for speed, to be honest, because there's sometimes where you might get, you know, a load of talking between characters and everything, between NPCs especially, and then you have to wait for something to happen before you can then carry on. I think it's that classic press X to skip, and that isn't available within the game. It could be an improvement, because it is nice to skip things. It's like, you know, if you ever watched Viva La Dirt, when they do the classic epic NPC man, some of their interactions with the NPCs is skip, 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 and they just want to skip the conversation. It's the same as what I say when people just go up and click, you know, accept the quest, then, you know, hand in, accept. They never read the text, so they don't want to hear it. So I think that's specific for instances. Could be good just to speed things along. But again, whether it would put extra load on the servers or not, I'm not entirely sure. But a possibility of a good thing. Right, this was mine, because it's something that's popped up quite a few times. Virtue XP quest rewards. Alleviate the grind for players with alts. Possibly tie into being a subscriber VIP option. Now, sometimes when you're leveling, you're higher level, and you go back and do quests of old, and you think, I'm just going to do this, but then you get the shittest weapon drop that you're never going to use. Yeah. Why don't they give you instead an option to virtue? Now, there was a quest, and I think it came out in the War of Three Peaks, or Gundabad that was doubled up because it was a boo-boo. There was an error. And it gave you, like, choose all these various things. You could choose 4 things, like, you know, a necklace, a weapon, you know, a piece of armor, and some food. But then there was also the option of some virtue XP. Yeah. Then there was another one underneath because it was there as a bonus. Now, the bonus was the correct one. The one listed as a selectable reward was wrong. Now, why don't they have that option of 500 virtue XP put in as a quest reward instead of having to pick a shitty weapon or a crappy you know, piece of armor that you're not going to use? I'll take the brawler as an example. Today I was in Evendim. Purple items, all of them available for every class apart from the brawler, because they haven't put them into the loot drop for this or the rewards for this actual quest. Again, it's something that needs to happen over time because they need to go back to all of them and find what hasn't been put in, and this one was particularly in Evendim. If I had the option there of a 500 virtue XP or 200 virtue XP, guess what I would have chosen? Virtue XP. But no, I couldn't. I had to choose a pair of boots that I can't even use. Then I just sell them for like 5 silver. Now, the other thing that ties into this is the next one. Virtue XP rewards as the bottle item, which we get from Hobbit gifts. So, certain quests do give these as well, but if you're a VIP, every day you get a Hobbit gift. Basically, you click a button, you unlock, you'll get maybe some virtue XP, you'll get certain gear, could be rubbish, might not need it, or you get some food or whatever. But they always come as a little bottle of virtue XP, which you can then trade between your other characters on your account. You just put it in your shared storage. Now, if I, on my captain, for example, his virtues are fine. I don't need to do anything really with his. Yeah, I could do the other ones to level. But it'd be better that I could transfer these virtue rewards across to other characters. So if you allow us to do this, the virtue XP as a bottle item, do it for this as well. Yeah, virtue XP rewards instead of crappy items that you're never going to use. There could be something that you never want from a quest and you're not going to use it because you think, well, I'm kind of over level, but you know, 100 virtue would be nice, or 50 virtue or whatever. I'm not saying a massive amount, but a small amount. It'd be like, well, I could use it on this character, or I only need 50 to finish off my other character's virtue for compassion. I'll tell you what, I'll send it to them. Make it account bound, obviously, but then put it here as a bottle item. That to me would make it just alleviate that grind, because as we went back onto like 2 pages ago, whatever, however far away it was, virtue grind is another one of those grinds that's like snooze fest. We're an account, we're not just a character. So if we're swapping everything else, we can swap resources, we can swap marks, we can swap money. Why can't we do this as well? Virtue XP. Yeah. I think that's a relatively easy fix. Yes, it needs balancing so that you don't give away 2,000 virtue for handing in a quest in Erid Lewin or something like that at level 4. But that to me would help the leveling experience. Again, it's keeping those players returning back to the beginning to start again. Helps everybody, but it has to be a nominal amount, not a massive amount. Again, I think it'd be worthwhile. This one's for all timers. So anybody that's been around a while and you've been playing the game, you'll know that we got screwed over a little bit. What happened quite a few years ago, they changed the virtue system. They changed how you earn virtue. So when you're in game now, you choose which virtue you wish to earn. So as you do deeds, as you do quests, anything that gives you virtue, you are allowed to choose the one that you want to earn that amount on. So for example, on my brawler, I'm leveling wit, for example. Years ago, at the start, up until they did the change, you did deeds and you got a virtue, 1 virtue point for completing that deed, but it was in a set virtue. Yep. So it would definitely have been I don't know, a virtue for fidelity. One that you might not ever use, but if you did that deed, you got it. So the good people at SSG did change it, and I think it was a very good change. I just think it can be made even better for those of us that have played characters from 2007 that have got deeds that are absolutely useless, and you're only going to use them ever for the bonus virtue, for the bonus items. Most of them have like morale or physical mastery as a bonus, but you're never going to use them. And I've got some on, like, I think my my hunter or my minstrel, which was some of my first characters. They're like level 30 out of, like, what are we, 80? Is it 80 now? Level 80 for our virtues. I've got 30 levels, all right, early levels built into that have stuff, that are deeds that I didn't really want to do, and I've got no benefit from them now apart from a little bit of extra bonus ability. So allow us to respec. We can respec our builds. Why can't we respec our points into the virtue? Work out how much it should cost to get you to level 30. Give us them back as total, you know, virtue points. And just give us a total amount and just say, right, all your characters now, you know, for each level, appraisal. Yeah, so you appraise your virtue. So a level, getting to level 30 would have cost you, let's say, for ease, 30,000 virtue. Yeah, so to get to level 30, one of your virtues would have cost you 30,000 virtue that you've earned. So, right, we know that. We'll give you 30,000 back for that. I'm not going to have it in compassion because I don't bloody need it. I'm going to put it into wit, which I do need. That to me would again help the older players who were kind of like stuck there, because we can't go back and grind our old deeds. We can't go back and do them because they've already been assigned to us. So allow us to respec. Don't give us the quest back. Obviously we can't, you know, they're done, they're gone. That'd be a hellishly job to do. But work out how much we should have earned, because each level, even now, is the same. So your first level, level 1 or whatever, will cost you, say, I don't know, 500 virtue. Level 2, 500 virtue. And I think it changes every 10 level, or every 10, 20 levels or something like that, how much it costs per level. So you could work it out how much you get, but do an appraisal system for the virtues for the older players, you know, who are stuck with virtues that we're never going to use, and just alleviate that a little bit. Again, sorry, they were my kind of 3 things. I did kind of take over that a little bit. Down here, I think may happen, and well, I'm hoping happens, because we've had bartering in quite a few different areas. Currently, low-level enhancement rooms become fairly useless, and nearly every character, nearly every person will have thousands of the bloody things, if you've appraised, in your vault, taking up space. And you can't do anything with them. I know you've got other characters coming through that you can use them on, but you've got thousands of the bloody things. You're not going to use them because your character levels, and then you out-level the actual enhancement rooms fairly quickly. So, allow them to be barterable. So, this is a, you know, low-level enhancement rooms make them barterable for higher levels at certain ratio. Now, this is an example. I'm not saying it's the perfect example, but maybe 5 level 86 enhancement runes would give you 1 level 130. It may be too powerful. It may not. It might need to be 10 level 86, for example. You know, just as it's literally an example. I'm not saying it's right, but it has to be. You can get rid of some to gain one of another higher level, and that means that you can use some of the older ones that you've got lying around to enhance your higher level characters, especially with the legendary system. So this, for anybody that doesn't know, this is tied into the new legendary system with regards enhancing your legendary items, or specifically the slots. So it is because I've got thousands of the things. The other thing as well, just with regards the enhancement runes, we can have stacks of thousands in our vault, but we can't put loads in. We can only stack 100 into our carry-alls. I think it needs to be more than 100 because we're taking up so much space, and I literally cannot carry any more in most of my characters because my vault's full and my shared storage is full. And I've unlocked every bit of shared storage that I can. I think it's 310 is the maximum. And the carry-alls just out there. I know, again, it's a way of making money because they want you to buy more carry-alls. When you can only stack 100 in a bag and you can only have one stack of 100, that's the problem, is that I say maybe got 2,000 level 86 enhancement runes, for example. In my vault, they can stack into the thousands. But in my bags, in my carry-alls, they can only stack to 100. But then you can only have one of those stacks. So you can only ever carry 100. Why can't you do 100, then another 100, then another 100, then another 100, and actually make them useful? Because at the moment, the Essence and Tracery carry-alls, they're kind of a bit useless because you can only have ever one stack of 100. When you've got thousands of the bloody things, you can't do. You have to leave them in your vault, taking up vault space. And when you're at the capacity of your vault space, where do you put them? But again, that doesn't allow you, or doesn't instinctively make you to think, do you know what? I'm going to either barter for them, or I'm just going to stash them because one of my other characters that comes through. A, you can't barter higher level ones, and B, you can't stash them because you have to take up so much room in your vault. So that isn't conducive to making you want to actually level another character. You can see where the problem is that people are going to do it once and then nah, I don't want to go through that again. No, I don't want to do that. There we go. Right. Quick slurp after all that jibber jabber again. Right, UI improvements. This one does affect me a little bit at the top. I have a 4K monitor. How about we get Virtue XP boost for Destiny points? True, that could be an option. Obviously, now we get an XP boost from Destiny points. It would be another option that you can boost your XP by increasing your Virtue acceleration at the bottom. Possibility. So yeah, good idea that, Eth. Good idea. So yeah, UI, like I say, I got a 4K monitor. I can't play LOTRO at 4K. I'd love to. I know some of the textures won't be brilliant. I'm hoping that with some graphical improvements that we're supposed to be getting, that we will see an improvement in texturization of the game. But the problem is that the scaling of some of the UI elements does not go high enough. You can play at 1440p, which is what I do play at, and it's perfectly fine. Anything above that, no, because some of the items don't scale any bigger. Literally, you can't rescale them. No matter what you play with in the sliders, in the menu system, nope, they just do not go any bigger. So you're like, I can't read that. What the frick does that say? And it is a problem. They are aware of it, but I think it's a general thing that people would like better scalability of the UI. Again, it is work, but whether this is going to be tied into the graphical update. Now, I'm just going to mention the graphical update. Still, somebody said to me the other day when they came into the stream, oh, it's going to be great when they get the new graphics. The new graphics engine. And I'm like, what graphics engine? People still seem to think that there's going to be a big graphical overhaul, like we're going to be porting across to Unreal Engine. That is not happening. And again, this is how things just get racing away. If all of a sudden they turn around and say, we've ported across to UE, I'd be as happy as a pig in shit. Absolutely over the moon, because it would mean a great deal. The game still looks great, but it would mean that it looks even better. However, thinking that's going to happen with the licensing and the time and everything that needs to be done to actually get that game ported across, nah, it ain't happening. No way. However, they have said that they're looking at graphical improvements. What that means is still a bit undecided, but I wouldn't expect that all of a sudden we're going to get a new graphical engine. We've had the per pixel lighting, which has improved the lighting. I think we're going to be looking at things along there, maybe with an increase in textures quality, which would be nice as well, because some of the textures are a little bit dubious. Especially they will add more bloom. I always turn that off, funnily enough. I think the way it is at the moment is okay, but again, some of the textures up close are very, very yeah, they're a little bit but again, they've certainly improved. If you look at some of the old textures that they've kind of revised over time, they do still look a bit bad, but some of the newer ones do look really, really good. I think modern systems can, obviously deal with higher textures in general, in terms of like actual clarity and resolution of them. But that again is going to be over time, and I think that's what we're more going to get than a whole graphical overhaul, which I'm sure some people are expecting. More quests on the quest tracker and a darker background. Yeah. 5 quests isn't enough. And again, this could tie in with a better scalable UI, because we just don't have the ability to have more than 5 quests on the screen at once. I had 5 quests on the screen when I used to play the game at 720p. I've doubled that now to 1440p, and I'm going to be going up to 4K if we could play 4K. And I still only have 5 quests. I think it has been mentioned before. Plus as well, sometimes it gets lost because of the background with the game. So yeah, a darker shader behind it of some description. Like, funny enough, these pictures have all had a kind of a shader put on them to darken things down a little bit, so that the text, this white text, stands out a bit better. And that's what I think would help as well. Resize scalable inventory. Again, a bit like the UI scaling. Now, obviously, you can change how many. You can have one big bag, so everything's in one big bag, or you can change it so that you've got 4 or 5 bags, however you want. But there's no resizing of them. You can't drag and resize them like you can some of the text boxes. Again, it's the scalability of the UI that needs to work on all objects, and I think currently it's like I can't always read that. One thing I will say about the UI, and it's something I have mentioned before, especially with recipes, which you buy from vendors or you get from barters. If you know that recipe on your character, it has a red outline. Can we make it a double red outline? Because it's so small that sometimes I have a difficulty actually seeing whether I've actually got that item or not, because it's so, you could have one item next to the other. One of them you've got, one recipe you haven't got in the actual barter UI, and you're like, do I actually have that? And then it's so difficult to tell. It needs a double barrier in red or a different color entirely, because it's just, you've got like a beige brown background and then you've got a red outline which is 1 pixel big, and you can end up buying items again, because it does allow you to buy them again, as it should, because you might want to send it to a different character. But if you were only buying that recipe for yourself or bartering, then you've wasted money because you've accidentally bought something. That needs to be improved again. Just literally, it's the outline of items that you already own, and it's more to do with recipes for your crafting. And I think that could make a good difference. A simple fix, but certainly one that I think we need to implement. Right, UI layout, load and save respected the text size increases and chat tabs and filters, including location on screen. Now, some of you won't know of this command, but if you do /UI _ layout space save space and then give it a title. So if it's on your character, say for example, like my guardian is called spam, that will save the layout of the screen where all the elements are, but it doesn't save everything. Like sometimes you might have your chat tabs set differently. So instead of having just your 4 basic tabs, you'll have world chat in its own tab. You'll have loot in its own tab. You'll have announcements in its own tab. When you do the UI layout save, it doesn't save any of those. So when you next load in another character, yeah, UI layout save now. Cheers, keeps. That is pretty much forgotten about. It doesn't remember that and people like the same thing on all the characters, because even though your taskbars or your skill bars might be different, your actual screen layout can be the same. So I think if it respected the font size, because people sometimes need different sizes instead of having to click it, the chat tabs, how you have them set up, and any filters that you have in place in regards where anything is, as in, I filter out world chat in my general tab. In kin chat, I just want to have that as just kin chat, for example. Fellowship and raids, just fellowship and raids. It doesn't respect that. You have to redo them every time. Now, you might think, well, you've only got to do it once, but when you've done it 14, 15 times on your characters, why it can't be added in again, I don't actually know. It could be, database issues or whatever. But again, we're in 2022, and I think something like that could be implemented. There was something else to do with the UI that annoyed me as well, and I've forgotten it. I'm sure it'll come back to me, but it was definitely UI related. Oh, that's it, yeah. When you are interacting with NPCs and you get the box that comes up that shows the actual text of what the quest is, you can increase the font. There's a little up and down arrow at the bottom. Can that be saved as well? Because every time you log out the game and log back in, you've got to press the up arrow to change the font size. Now, that's handy for me when I play on my burglar, because I do the narrated version, in the sense of people can see the text, what I'm reading, but every time I log in, I've got to resize that. Again, that should be included in the UI layout save. It's like a font size. Set NPC chat box window font to 22. Save it. That's it. That's all I want to do. Don't need anything else. Don't even need to have the actual position. I'll manually do that, etc. But I think the UI layout save just needs to be increased in what it actually does save. It'll save a lot of people a lot of heartache when it comes to thinking, Christ, I've just created a new... Oh, that's the other thing as well. Because it doesn't remember, when you go into an instance where you play a Hobbit or something, guess what it does? It goes back to the default. So you've got these tiny little... when you play at 1440p, it puts these tiny little items, icons at the bottom of your screen. I'm thinking, I've got to try and click that. Or I've got to try and... What the hell does that do? So quickly, I have to type into my chat, UI layout load, and then my character, just so it can pop up into the right size. Why? Remember what your player has already selected and just bring that value into the instances. Even the chat box is like minimal. It goes really, really tiny in this corner here where I am. And you're just thinking, I can't read that. What's that? What's good that? Let me just, have that saved. If you set it once, leave it set. As like Magic said, has been across your account. If you want to change it on a per character basis, then change it. But then you don't save it. Have one that you can have, a UI layout that is, this is my default, this is what I want on every character. If I need to change it because I've got a different UI element, like on the captain or the warden, then I'll adjust that accordingly. But give me 90% of everything the same. The minimap in the same place, the chat boxes in the same place, with the same filters, the same layout. Generally, if it needs tweaking, then I'll save it. Just that. Again, if it doesn't make you want to do another character because you've got to reset your UI and you spend 10 minutes setting it up and you think, how did I have it set up? What filters do I have in this tab? I actually have a list that I save into my Google folder, into my Google Drive, that I have to bring up so I know what's on each tab. So I have to look at that to then set the tabs in the game. Vlinders. As Keepy put up there, it's /UI space layout space save space, then you type a name. That name is like, I generally call it the character. So for example, I would be /UI space layout space save space spam. For example, spam is my guardian. And if you want to load that, obviously just change load saved, get rid of save and put load instead. So yeah, it's we can't actually put it into here because obviously the / gives the command in chat for some stupid reason. So yeah, I will put it in as a thing in the MMO as well, because you've got to be careful in there because anything with a / can count as different stuff. So hopefully that'll be something that we can get for the UIs. Right, filtering carry-alls for item level or tier. Yeah, having a filter in a carry-all would be nice because you can get the large carry-alls and you got a lot of stuff in there and then you can't find it. So having a little search box at the top or a drop down if it's a specific item, because obviously, for example, the essence carry-all, you can only have essences. So make it so that you can search by tier or anything like that, or having a search box would be good. This one's probably what a lot of people want. Carry-alls rename. Was that your name? I think everybody's idea was that. No, Magic's claiming that idea because it is annoying as hell. I, in my shared storage, actually have literally a one of the vault spaces, one whole vault space, one of the bag spaces, vault space, whatever, is literally per, like say, wood, ingots, leather. And only in those do I ever put wood, ingots, or leather, obviously. But the carry-alls, they go into those specifically, so that I know what they are in there. Now, sometimes, because of the vault lag, you can drag them across back into the shared storage, for example, and then switch to another vault space, and then it clicks back again to the old vault space that you're trying to put them in. And then you drag the bag back out, and you go, that's the same one. So I'm like, well, doesn't matter. But, you know, renaming carry-alls, I think it has been mentioned before, but just allow us to rename them. We can rename everything else in the game near enough. But a rename of a carry-all, yeah, tie it into the naming convention so that, you know, you don't have rude names and this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, wood bag 1 would be a hell of a lot easier than just large carry-all. Because if you get them all out into, because if you're doing a lot of crafting and you get all of your items out into your bag, into your inventory, sometimes you'll be like, what's in that bag? So you have to right click it and open it just to see what's in it. So that, I think, is a hopefully something that will come sooner. Deed log needs something other than yellow text on yellow background. Again, it's clarity. Sometimes there's not enough difference between the text, like we said with the quest tracker. You can't always read what the hell it says. So yellow text on a yellow background, not a good thing. So let's have a little bit of clarity. And again, it's just some of these are what are called quality of life changes because they maybe weren't able to be implemented now. Back in the day, but like now it's like that hasn't really worked, has it? Let's do something about that. Let's change that. So I think, yeah, something simple like yellow text on a different tone of yellow background is like, nah, I can't read that. In my metal section of my vault, I have 2 large carry-alls, one for ore and one for ingots. I can never tell which is which. This is why when I do any crafting, I get them both out of my vault, so I've got them. Yeah. I still know different characters, but it's still useful if you have one in vault or one on a character. Yeah. This is it. But if you, like I say, if you store everything in your shared storage, you're like, which is which, you know. So just the ability to rename, I think, will be massively helpful going forward. This one's kind of mine, but somebody did say that the lighting coloration sometimes some things look very dull. The game does. Now, I think that was a design decision many years ago, because if you ever noticed, like with Lord of the Rings, at times it can be a bit dull, it can be a bit foreboding, but the whole game at times does look like that. It doesn't want to be wow in the sense of, you know, pink and purples and everything everywhere, and it is more real. I want to say real as in more lifelike. However, I do think at times it does look a little bit on the dull side. So most of you will know that I do run Reshade. I have mentioned it there. Reshade.me is basically a download that you can do to run shaders, which you can overlay on top of your game. Now, I think I've talked about it over the last couple of streams just a couple of times, just to show what can be achieved, because people have said, God, your colors look different, or why does your game look better than mine? And it is literally down to reshade. Now, if that was just a default option to be a bit more brighter and a little bit more enhanced, I think people would find the game a little bit better, and you wouldn't need to run another program, because really reshade is running in the background all the time. Now, for my system, it's generally fine. It doesn't affect it. We did a little test. It maybe knocked 1 or 2 frames per second off, but that's on my system. On somebody else's system that isn't as powerful, they would see maybe an increase in how many frames that reshade will knock off. However, it is very, very economical, so I doubt you'd lose much. But again, it should be something that I think should be included in the base game rather than having to use reshade to overlay on top. I mean, most of these screenshots that you'll see are taken with reshade on, so the colors will look a bit better. Some aren't, but some are. And some, not only does reshade give you better coloration, it can increase the clarity of the image, the definition as well. Edges of certain things can be more defined, because there's always a little bit of a soft blur to some of the, especially stonework that's in the distance. And just having some of the UI, not the UI, some of the graphics enhanced with like an overlay or a shader does make things look that little bit better. And it can affect all aspects of your screen, of your game, because it's not something that just myself as a streamer sees. You boys and girls will see from the output that I upload. So definitely something to possibly improve, but there is reshade as an option. Right. We're getting there. No, we've only been talking for 2 hours. I think we'll try and get it done in 2.5. My voice is going to be ripped to shreds soon. As we could get mithril coins for meta deeds, people who always spend time in the game will work for them. Yeah, mithril coins are always a little bit dubious. Right. Other stuff. So we are near at the end. This, I think, came from Baz, because I know he's done some coding, especially with the Gnomes plugin that we run for raids. It's based on the Prime plugin, but obviously he dabbles in there. Right, better LUA coding options. Now, I'm no coder when it comes to Lord of the Rings Online, but I know that what you can tap into and change and pull with regards APIs and details and stuff like that is a little bit lacking. It's one of those things that's never been very well supported in terms of access. Now, if you think of World of Warcraft, we'll use that as the basis of this. They have a lot of mods and a lot of UI elements and overlays and things like that. They can pull a lot of extra information, whereas Lord of the Rings doesn't. I mean, what the people have come up with in terms of, stable masters to class trait point lists and things like that, it's phenomenal. Some of them are absolutely superb. The Prime plugin is a work of art, to think of what they've actually done for raiders. But everything can be improved, and I think having that extra thing for those that do dabble in it, and it is a hardcore amount of people that really do want to have better access. Again, will it ever happen? I'm not entirely sure, but it's something that has been requested. So if it can be done, let's hope it can. But who knows? Now, this one actually came from, I won't name them because I don't think it'd be fair, because it is a little bit of a critique. It was noted around War of Three Peaks and Gundabad that obviously the new expansion was coming. Now, they're very aware, this person is very aware of marketing and how you can push an item. And they sent me a message saying that the enthusiasm from the community team on streams that they felt was poor. They got a big product release, yet they were lacking interest and enthusiasm. Now, again, this is a critique, and I'm only throwing it in there because I think it could enhance Lord of the Rings entirely, and it was somebody's, rightful concern. They have an issue with how the lack of, like I say, enthusiasm, the lack of desire to, this is going to be great, we're going to really enjoy this. And again, it's Cordovan's persona. It's how he is. I mean, you can't change that overnight or anything like that. But I think it's not only the stream presentation. I think it's the whole marketing around a big release, that there's nothing there. There's no excitement that they generate, and I think it's, whether it's restricted in terms because of budget or not, I'm not entirely sure, but certainly there's been a bit of an increase with the update to free-to-play and the anniversary, because we've seen, I've certainly seen in MMO magazines and online magazines rather, that they've picked up on Lord of the Rings a lot more. So fair play if they have gone out and generated more interest and said, look, this is what's happening, this is what's coming, take a look here, there and everywhere. But I think with terms of the weekly streams are okay. People get to ask questions. They don't always answer these questions and stuff like that. And it can be very difficult to maintain enthusiasm. I know that from even just streaming Lord of the Rings, it can be very difficult. But I think especially when it terms, you've got a big Gundabad release, and then you've had, say, Minas Morgul or Mordor and that, they want to really see much more enthusiasm from the team. I can't say whether that'll change or not. That's way out of my remit. Yeah, we all want Lord of the Rings to be, talked about. We want it to be seen, especially when you consider, in about 4 months' time-ish, 4.5 months, we're going to be seeing Lord of the Rings on Prime. I would be very disappointed if Lord of the Rings is not pushing for, or Lord of the Rings Online rather, is not pushing around that time for a mass amount of interest. You really want to be hyping that up. I'm just thinking that I'm just going to check my. Oh, it is playing. I'm very quiet. There we go. So yeah, I think hopefully we'll see a big push in enthusiasm and marketing, especially around launch of Lord of the Rings on Prime. Obviously, that is the TV series that's coming up. Lieutenant Nemesis has just leveled to Lieutenant Star 3, which is quite weird because it's Lieutenant Nemesis 3-6. Okay, ties in with his name nicely. Right, a couple of little ones really to end with. Downtime notifications, details in advance rather than the day before unless an emergency, and people like to plan 24 hours notice isn't enough, which is true. Not everybody works to, I know what my set day off is every week. Not everybody's like that. So whilst generally we know we have downtime on a Wednesday, it's usually about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock UK time in the afternoon. It's one of my days off. That's fine. I expect that. That's one of my days off during the week. Centurion Swindle, thank you very much. There we go. You can have some quick tax guy as well. But not everybody reads the launcher, because it is in the launcher generally. Not everybody reads the forums. Not everybody reads Twitter. Having those details out in advance further than 24 hours will, because the amount of times you log in and you know that the servers are going down, and then people log in at, say, 10 minutes before the servers are shutting down, and they haven't seen the notification to say that the server is shutting down in 1 hour, the server's shutting down in 30 minutes. And then they log in and then they see the announcement and they go, what? Why is the server shutting down? A, they probably don't realise it's maintenance day because they haven't been notified. Have it in the launcher. I'm going to have some thoughts to post on Discord for this stream. Mind if I create a thread for that event? Yeah, more than welcome, Keeps. Always welcome. That I think have it in the launcher, days in advance, and say planned maintenance is for Wednesday, the 4th of May. Put it in there now. Not the day before. Put it in the launcher now. If that is what is planned, and they will have had the big meeting and said this is planned, put a link to the post in the forums. There's usually there. Again, people don't read it, but if it's in the launcher, they can't complain and say, I didn't know. You've always got to dumb it down. I know it's like a derogatory term, but people don't read. People have an inability, or they have they have an ability to not read. You know, they can read, but they choose not to. And you can teach people to suck eggs, but, you know, not everybody will suck an egg. You know, so you've really got to hold everybody's hand at times. And I think that's one of those things that 24 hours, like all of a sudden, people don't log in for 2 or 3 days. And then they're like, what, the server's going down? Yeah, because, you know, you weren't told 2 or 3 days ago. I mean, they must know. I mean, I know it's a regular thing. Generally, Wednesdays is patch day, but sometimes it shifts. But if they mention on the forums, like, okay, we're due possibly a patch, but we're going to be bringing that on. We're going to be delaying weekly maintenance until the Thursday for the deployment of the patch. If that's the plan, put that in the launcher 3 or 4 days in advance, and then people will see it. Not like 24 hours before, because people were saying, well, sometimes I log in and I don't know what's happened, and you know, I don't know when the maintenance is because they might have shifted it. If it shifts, then change the date in the launcher straight away. I don't know how difficult that actually is, because it seems like it's almost like some kind of HTML stroke separate box within the launcher that it connects to. So there must be some way that they can amend it without affecting the, you know, an update to the launcher or anything like that. So hopefully that. Now the last one is kind of aimed at me, because a lot of companies do it. Is having a creator program. Now I push, and I think people will agree with me on this. I do push for people to try the game, that there is a lot of love for the game, that I still enjoy it, and if anybody comes in, I will try and help them. But I do that off my own back. You know, I don't do it because I'm getting any kickback or anything like that. But why not have a creator program? Why not get all these people that stream for LOTRO on the LOTRO stream? It's some kind of referral scheme. I mean, it's literally a code. You could get a little kickback in terms of, I don't know, for me it doesn't matter because it's a VIP, like a VIPX, you know, or little buffs or anything for your account. You could get extra LOTRO points, for example. You know, for every referral, you get 50 LOTRO points. Again, it's just an example. And they get, you know, the person that signs up gets an extra Kickstarter or something like that. Help us promote. Help us help you. God, that's a Jerry Maguire saying, isn't it? Help me help you. If you've ever seen Jerry Maguire with Tom Cruise, obviously he's the American football agent, and one of his favourite sayings to Cuba Gooding Jr. is, help me help you. So you kind of got to work both ways, in the sense of, we'll promote the game because we're playing it, and we are promoting it anyway. However, if we can turn around to a new player and say, just use that code and you'll get an extra buff that'll allow you to increase in your leveling experience for 5 levels. It's not a lot, but it's a little buff. And then I get LOTRO points or something like that to spend in the store. Something like that. Again, totally speculative, total example. I'm not saying that's what would happen, but again, we're trying to generate interest in the game. We can only do it so far because we're not given any other tools apart from, here, let's play the game. I'm going to put it on stream and talk about it and try and get people in. But that isn't always enough. You've got to have that little dangly carrot that will just maybe make that person, you know, turn from a doubter to a believer. So who knows? So that's what I had for everything that people have sent into me. It's kind of over to you. I mean, you might not have anything. People might not. But last bit, what do you want to see in LOTRO? What do you want to see? If you've never sent me any information, now is your chance to put it into the chat. Now is your chance to say, I would like to see XYZ. Oh, did I cover your point? Oh, shit. Sorry. Have you been, have you been waiting to say that? So what was yours then? The Clariol. The Carriols. Okay, yeah. See, I knew that was Charvel, you covered player versus monster player totally. Now, I can cover it now because you brought it up. The reason is that nobody else had mentioned it up to now. They are looking at improving the experience of player versus monster player. One of the original developers has come back into the fold, and they've specifically asked for input into what you would like to see in player versus monster player. Keepy, I don't know if you've got the link to that to hand. I think you've got it on the forum somewhere. I'll have it in a sec. So if you are wanting to see an improvement in player versus monster player, which for anybody else who doesn't know is player versus player basically, but you are free people of the Middle Earth, as in your character. You go up against another character which is from the creep side, which is you play a weaver, which is a spider. You can play an uruk, you can play a wag, that kind of thing. If you have it might be partway through, yeah, but people can click to page 1. That's perfectly fine. Oh, there we go. They are looking to improve the experience because they know that player versus monster player has been left in the doldrums for quite a length of time. So, without a shadow of a doubt, do put your Only Weaver as free to play. So there is restrictions. Again, I'm out of the loop when it comes to player versus monster player. And being a lifetime subscriber, I don't actually know what is restricted and isn't. Now, to me, every monster player should be, remove the VIP restriction. Get people who are just coming into the game playing monster player. Why have they got a VIP restriction on that? If it was good, excuse my, if it was fantastic and people thought, I'm going to pay VIP because I want to play player versus monster player, that wouldn't be a problem. But obviously, even as a VIP and you get it for free and people aren't playing it, it ain't that good. No. Literally, you're fighting against your own goods or bads. It's a bit like playing Battlefield. It's like playing Battlefield, but with your character against weavers and wags and stuff like that. No, you don't even really get to hear anything about it. The only time is you get one quest to vector towards. See you later, take care. You literally only get a quest to go to, I think, Rivendell to speak to somebody at, I think, about level 20 or something like that. And that's about it. But yeah, what I would like granted, probably not possible, is there for items to be worldwide, not server. Yeah, Charvel, I don't actually know how that would work. I mean, they're all obviously in the same data center, which obviously means they're in the same place. It's not like we're, playing Europeans against Australia. I think the problem is the ping. The latency, really. I mean, yes, you can have American players that have a better ping to the server, and obviously in a game that relies not like first-person shooters where it's literally you can fire and then it can take a little while for your bullet to hit. If you're firing off skills, and there's an increased latency by being in Europe, that puts you as a disadvantage because your latency might be double of somebody else. And also them seeing you move in real time has a problem because whilst we're not in the realms of New World where you are having to aim shots and stuff like that, it could be that just that latency could mean you get killed rather than surviving. So, yeah, as Keepy says, the problem with the naming of characters, yeah, it's always based on a server. So if you have the same character name, it's a bit of a... How did you shove? Hang on, let's just go... Perhaps all sizes and all types of carryall could be for sale in the shop. Yeah, they do. I think the reason they do it is they keep it as an exclusive just so they can keep the price up. if it was there all the time, eventually they'd just turn it into a normal item for sale. Whereas if you make it an exclusive, it's only available for a limited time. Grab it now so you spend those LOTRO points. So, one thing I'll say about the store, and it's what does catch people out, and I'm not saying it's nefarious the way they word it, but I always think it's a little bit of a not clear. When they say that you get double bonus points if you buy any LOTRO points, people seem to think that they get double the LOTRO points. Now, when you buy some LOTRO points for physical, like for money, for actual real world money from the marketplace on LOTRO.com, you might get, say, I don't know the actual, like say for £5 of real money, you can get 1,000 LOTRO points. I don't know what the actual thing is, but what you're actually buying is, say, 750 LOTRO points with 250 as a bonus. Yeah, so you're getting 1,000, but it's broken down into 750 normal and then 250 as a bonus. Now, when they say double bonus LOTRO points, people don't read the bonus bit. They think bonus is an extra. Well, it is, but it's you're actually already getting the bonus points. So if you have double bonus points, yeah, you'll get another 250. You won't get another 1,000. You'll only get 250. So be very careful with that. I think that isn't explicitly made clear, because I have seen people go, well, I didn't get 1,000 points, for example, or I didn't get the right. Yeah, because it's only the bonus points. So your overall amount you get for your money is split between the statutory amount of, say, 750, and then we're going to give you a bonus amount for 250. But then when it's double bonus points, you get double 250. So your overall total is 1,250. It's not a bonus amount of the whole lot. Oh, no. It's only that bonus. And I think it's a little bit sneaky, that. But that's marketing for you. Because, again, people don't read. They have the ability to, but don't. So, I'm just going to scroll through in case I've missed anything else. I don't think I have. I didn't read it after the message, but I think got my characters. Yeah. Just people understand the offers correctly. Yeah, I think it's the way it's worded though, Jaffa. Because it's when you use the word bonus, it's seen as an extra. So people think, oh, I'm getting an extra here. Yes, you technically are, but it's only on the bonus points that you're already earning. And it is causing a little bit of confusion. And again, it's reading comprehension. People don't always read stuff. So this is how people can get around, not reading things correctly, and then they get caught out. So, yeah, maybe sneaky is a bit of a word, but I think it's people would assume bonus points. You get double bonus points because you see double and bonus points, so double extra points. It doesn't actually work out like that. It's only on the actual bonus amount, because you don't actually necessarily, you just see the 1,000. You see the 1,000 number and you think, oh, I'm going to get bonus that. No, it's only on the amount that's already included in there. So, again, not everybody reads to the same comprehension as other people, and that can be used as for good or for ill. So if there's nothing else that you think that you could include in the game, oh, Jaffa, what did you do? You messed up with your Valar. Did you open it on the wrong character? Did you use it on the wrong... Or did you use it? You used it. That's the... Oh. Oops. Oh, you used it on the wrong character. Oh. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Now, the only thing I could suggest, Jaffa, would be to not log into that character at all from now on, get in contact with customer service and say, I've accidentally logged into the wrong account. Can I have that taken off? They may not be able to do anything about that because I know obviously they had the issue with the whole giving out the Valars in the first place. So that's the only thing I can suggest. But other than that, you're stuck with a Valar on a character on Gladden. Ugh. Tom Elder, first person perspective mode. You can technically do that in LOTRO, but it's very, very difficult. I've tried in-game mailing, doesn't work. No, you can't mail between servers anyway. That's never been a possibility, unfortunately. Right, the only thing I can suggest, yeah, bound on account, but that is on characters per server. The only thing I can suggest, and it would cost, unfortunately, would be to move that character to the server that you want. But that would mean paying money. So, yeah, I don't actually know. Because I know Keepy's transferred a lot of characters from various places. Yeah. Yeah, so you could spend that amount to transfer the character over. And obviously, if it's on that character, that would mean the Valar would come with them. But what I would do is I would contact customer service in advance and say, I've opened this up by accident because I logged into the wrong server. I've been given the Valar. However, is there a way that I can have that Valar sent to another one of my characters? If not, can I transfer the character with the Valar to this server? And they might say yes, but you might not get the Valar, or yes, you know, we might be able to transfer it, but it's going to cost you LOTRO points. So, or you could wait for a Valar to come on sale. And that would be cheaper if you wanted a Valar, because sometimes they are on sale. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's it is problematic, unfortunately, but have a quick look. Scotty's just turned up. Hello, Scotty. Welcome along, Scotty, whoever you are. Scotty does not transport. So they are playing Lord of the Rings Online, whoever they are. Welcome to the Discord, by the way, Scotty. I'm trying to work out who you are because obviously the names on Twitch don't always relate to who people are on our Discord. But welcome along, welcome along. Good to see you all. Thanks very much for joining us. Yeah, the problem with that is undo buttons. Scotty 10,000. Okay. Scotty. It might be Scotty 10,000. Yeah, I couldn't see all the viewer lists, but Scotty 10,000. Thank you for joining the Discord. If you, I'll just actually put a link to it in case people don't already. I'll put the socials through. Can't type on Discord. Lack of nitro stops that. You don't need to have nitro to type on our Discord. What you need to do is when you join the Discord, I'm just going to check. Check on the reactions. Let's see. Linda's is there. Potato number 4, Nubis Gax. Yeah, you need to go into the verify. So as soon as you log on, there's a hello, please verify. Literally, you just go into there, and it just says welcome to the server. And then at the bottom, there's a little icon, which is of me going like that without my glasses on. Click that, and then you'll be able to see all the server. Near enough. Nearly all the server. But yeah, it's just so that we don't get bots, that's all. You literally, we were getting some bots coming in, and to kind of sidestep them, we put in the little verification. It's just so that you are human. So Magic did put something in there. I'd like, okay, so you did the undo button, didn't you? Is that to do with the undo button? Oh no, that was different. Okay, so Magic just asked about an undo button when you do something wrong. The reason with that is that there's certain things always go to a database. So with boxed items that are kind of a once and a once only, like your carry-all, for example, you can't then undo that and do that, because you could use that carry-all and then go, oh, I don't want that, and undo it, and then send it back off to another character. Oh, right. Yeah, I can see that. I don't think there's any game that ever has that, because it has to kind of hold that item in perpetuity kind of thing, and just go, I'm not going to do anything with this until they've said okay. Yeah, I've never known any game do that. Ah, right, okay. So yes, as long as you got that, you should then be able to see, or Scotty, you should be able to see all the other places as well, and you should be all unlocked. So you can type away now, hopefully. But welcome to the Discord, by the way. So Magic put, I'd like your capacity for shared storage to grow depending on how many characters you have. I'd like more than the current cap. I'm happy to pay more for it. I think an increase in the storage could happen, but it would be LOTRO points again, which is fine. But again, it's size of database, because everything, you know, like we were discussing how it takes so long for us to load in shared storage, so long to load in our vault. It's because when you log out, it takes a snapshot of your information. The more you have, the longer it's going to take for that. So there may be a restriction on that. But I'm hoping if they can go to the 64-bit clients and the 64-bit server code, that would allow something like that to happen, you know, an increase. If it costs LOTRO points, it costs LOTRO points. Because, you know, I would happily spend that because I'm going to use that space. Currently, I have to use a Bangle for anything that's overspill. And that means I have to log in that character to put it into my shared storage. But currently, my shared storage is full to brim. I can't do anything else with it. So, Jaffa, stupid question. What's reason for the stream? You never, yeah, never pay attention, do you? You never pay attention. Literally is. Actually, let me just get rid of that. But community suggestions and ideas to improve the Lord of the Rings online. Reason is Gaz is a Muppet. Apparently, I am, even though I think I'm a good Muppet. I'm a good Muppet. So there we go. There he is. Absolutely fabulous. So yeah, if you do want to join us on the Discord, you're more than welcome. Join there. But yeah, for improvements and suggestions for the Lord of the Rings Online, obviously, hopefully, we'll have put something together for the devs to maybe look at. Well, I'm going to put it up on the tube of you, by the way. So we just have the backgrounds running now. On my YouTube, which has gone through there. So if you do want to watch it back, it's always easier to watch things back on YouTube than it is on on Twitch rather. So I will be uploading this to there if you do want to have a look. If you want to put anything on the Discord, I know Keepy started a thread there. Please do chime in if you've got anything else. I'm sure that there's always good options for discussion. And I just seen Ikari. How you doing, Ikari? He's been around. I just stumbled. Keepy, you just stumble here because you trip over something. So yeah, fingers crossed. It will give the devs some things to think about when they return to work if they've watched it. I know we've had scenario in a couple of times of recent, but if anybody is in disguise, I hope that there's something that will give them food for thought and maybe go forward. So that's it. My voice is a bit raspy now. It's feeling a bit sore, so I'm actually going to drop off for the night. I may be in LOTRO just running around. PUBG tomorrow. No, there isn't, Tom. I think Bal is busy because he's getting married soon. When is he getting married anyway? I can't remember. I think he did tell me a few weeks back, but I can't remember. But I don't think there's any PUBG tomorrow. I think we're just going to be having the week off. We may reconvene for next week. Bal's getting Wednesday, May the 4th, yeah. So yeah, Bal wouldn't be there. He'll be shitting bricks probably by now. I've had the money on the fact this thing will last about 2.5 hours. Spot on. Yeah, you were right. Yeah, the thing is, if I do my Geekcast, that normally is about 2.5. May the Force be with him, actually. Yeah, that'll be it. So there's going to be a lot of Star Wars references coming up. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Yeah, with a waddle duck. Even though that's not a chicken, that is a duck. Winner, winner, duck dinner. Ducking dinner. Exactly. So, right, I hope you've enjoyed that. It's a little bit different. It's taken a few months of planning just to collate all that information. I know it's not maybe everybody's cup of tea and they might not want to see a lot of more LOTRO. We will be back with more LOTRO. I'm just going to take the night off because I have streamed earlier and then my voice is feeling a bit raspy now because I have talked for about 2.5 hours constant. And I don't like the sound of my own voice at the best of times, so I'm not going to carry on any longer. So we may have some drinks. We may have a bit of chocolate now, and we may just stumble around Middle Earth doing some various stuffs on various characters. Probably a bit of housekeeping. So look out for more streams. Thank you very much to Centurion Swindle for the follow. Shuguchi, hell of a name. Thank you for the follow. Obi W Lan, I love that. Thank you, Missy. Thank you for the follow. Welcome Soap earlier for the follow as well. Now I'm just going to check because we are very, very close. Let me just go back to my stream manager. We are 4. Scotty, thank you very much. 10,000. Scotty, 10,000 for the follow. I'm just about to say we are so close. We are now 3 away from 3,500. 3.5. So if you don't already follow, I'm going to ask you, just hit that follow button. Whoever you are, if you're new to the stream, please hit that follow button. We're 3 away from 3,500, and that would be quite epic. So I'm going to bog off now because my throat, like I say, is getting a little bit sore. But hope to see you soon. Please join us in the next one, wherever it is, whatever we're doing. And take care. Enjoy Middle Earth. In the meantime, folks, take care. Be good. See you soon. TD Evan for now. Bye.